Hello, everyone. Kevin here. Not really sure what I'm going to talk about. I just decided to press record because it's been several days since I've created any content. Guess I've been trying to stir up the content inside me while dealing with life. And I didn't like what was there, so I didn't really want to put it out there. But I realized this is very important just to do this consistently. So I'm making an attempt. Plus, it gives me a chance to look at myself and smile more. I realize happiness has to come from a place within yourself. And that's really always been hard for me because I look outside for that happiness and I latch on to it through friends, um, external situations, women, my wives. And what happens is that's not really fair to them or you because it's not their job to continuously make you happy. And it's not going to work out in the end. Gosh. Seems like I've been doing this forever. But in actuality, I've been out here for a few months, living in my car. Uh, Traded my work truck, something that gets a little better fuel mileage. And this has been my home ever since. But there's more room than the truck. I appreciate that. I really didn't want to get rid of my truck because it wasn't far from being paid off. But it needed some things and I didn't have the money. So I made a trade. Now I have a payment again. That's life. Really, I've been working on myself for all this time. It's taken me a long time to get where I am. I've learned a lot. I forget to stop and assess that and remember how far I have come. That really helps. When I take the time to do that, I can see myself for the progress that I've made and where I still need the areas I need to look at. I'm having a hard time figuring out how to coexist, operate, function in this world, and be truthful. because the world's just not set up for that. And so far, I've came to the realization that you have to be true to yourself as much as you can be. But there are still ways that we're all playing this game. And if you say you're not, I'll just say that I don't see how that's possible, because in order to talk to someone else, in a way, we have to be not totally truthful. Okay, what I mean by that. Because life's a game. The whole thing's a game, and we're all playing here. Because when it comes right down to it, the all is known. Individuation is where it gets fake. We individuate ourselves, we separate ourselves in order to co-create and play this game. And lots of us, we get lost in ourselves, and we get too deep with it, and it becomes less and less real. I guess the question is, I'm asking myself, how to play the game and be truthful. Because me right now recording this video, it's a game. It's part of it. I guess to put this into perspective a little bit better, you can think about the smaller ways that we play. But for me, it's getting lost within my own head, my own consciousness, trying to interact with others now. And that's something I'm having trouble figuring out just how to do. Without being fake. So, when I started out on my journey, and I started realizing how strange things were around me, and things just weren't right, I started noticing details that were always there, and I saw before, but I didn't pay attention to, or I just dismissed on purpose, because I didn't want to. Life's enough, without overcomplicating things. But we complicate it easily. I see in ways how I do this by getting in my head and talking to myself. I've been alone for quite a while now. I've had no one around me physically, no one. I've tried to talk to a couple people and it didn't pan out. They weren't for me. When I meet a truthful person that wants to carry on a conversation, I would like to try to do that and see where I'm at. But the small talk, it got to where the small talk was intolerable. It got hard to be patient with small talk. And there was a lot of that in my life, and I felt like it was just people trying to waste my time. And maybe I shouldn't be that way, think that way, feel that way about everyone, because it's not always like that. But for the majority, I think in my surrounding, it was. I kind of felt like I was the only one out there who didn't understand what was going on. And so I just removed myself from that situation. And trying to gain my respect back it's not been easy, because I've been manipulated out here, trying to figure things out. I've been manipulated online, because that's my life now. It's my life as far as interacting with others has only been online, and that can really play tricks on your mind and make it hard to learn, discern. But it's been a good experience, and I have learned a lot. And I've still caught myself falling for things, for traps, from maybe messages sent by others who didn't have good intentions, manipulative. And that's because I was in a state of worry, wanting help, trying to reach out a little bit. Seems like every time I've done that, reaching out, it's not worked out in my favor. And it makes you feel silly for falling for the traps. I felt pretty silly lots of times. And what it boils down to is I was being manipulated in a state of weakness, vulnerable state, and I was being manipulated by someone else. But it was my fault that I let it happen. I fell for it. But when it comes to God, comes to believing, you kind of have to go out on a limb, and you have to have that mustard seed of faith. You have to put your trust out there. And it's really sad that there are those who take advantage of that. Take advantage of someone who wants to be true and help others. But that's the world that we live in. That's the old world. I'm here to help make a change in it. Because I don't like being manipulated, and I don't like to see others hurt, manipulated, used, lied to. I can handle it myself. Eventually, I might have a little pity party, but I can handle that more than I can handle watching someone else who is being taken advantage of in that situation. I don't agree with it. I've watched bullies all of my life, and something I've had a hard time with is bullies, and I don't put up with them. And that caused me to spiral in bad directions. And it kept me from growing in ways that I needed to grow. I feel like I've learned so much that I have a hard time grasping onto any one thing to talk about. So I'm learning just to start somewhere and go with it instead of trying to script it together. I guess the question is, the topic of the day is, how truthful can we be to ourselves? And what compromises are we willing to make to play along with this game? And when I say play a game, I mean interact with others. Because for me, that's been, I've had to go back to the start. Ground zero. Tear myself down. Cry over it. Let it go. And this is not a one-time thing. This happens over many times. And it's been really tough. I know there are many of you out there who are going through the same thing. It's really tough, guys. You need someone to talk to about this, to lift your spirits. Because most things that have been put out there in this world for us to consume, they don't lift our spirits. They keep us in a loop. Negative feedback loop, and it's hard to come out of that without help. I'm really thankful that there are a lot of people, a lot of folks out there now that are doing this, and they're helping others get through this. And that's why I'm here talking to you guys right now, trying to put some of that help back out there that I have received. And as I learn more, I will continue to do this more often. And for a while, I kind of got to a point where I didn't think I was in a position to help anyone else, because I still have had trouble seeing things for what they really are. And that makes you vulnerable. And the things that you talk about, that I've talked about, in my earlier videos, I can reflect back on now and see how much I've learned. It can be embarrassing, but we got to get past that. I wouldn't be out here, working on myself, doing what I do, if I let a little bit of embarrassment hold me back. I was completely, embarrassed in my hometown. And that was due to my lack of knowledge, my lack of giving in to the only system that seemed to be there to provide that knowledge. Because I didn't agree with the things that you had to do to acquire it. When it comes right down to it, I mean, you have to sell your soul. And I wasn't going to do that. I'm selling my soul here now in a good way to try to help others who have been in this same position, to show them there is a way out. You can heal. You can move forward. And you can help others. We can all do this. We can help each other. We can make this world a better place. There's a lot of manipulation that goes on in the world. A lot of secrets that are kept. There's a lot of good things out there that could help others that are suppressed. They're kept secret because the system would crumble when they come into the public eye. But that's happening now. It's been happening. It will continue to happen. And for all of us who have not known how to live a truthful existence, it gets harder and harder. For me, I'm starting to see the areas that I need to work on, I need to improve on, where I'm not being truthful with myself. Because I'm on that path of improvement, self-discovery and improvement. It's showing me areas that I have not improved. And part of that is just me being me, the old me, not expressing myself on a regular basis, truthfully. And sometimes I get in my head and I start saying, "Oh, look how bad you've made it on yourself. Things may have been better before." Well, I may have had more things in my presence, but that's all. It was just a bunch of things. An accumulation of things that really I didn't need. Some of those things were things that I really enjoyed working with, building and learning. And some of them just sat there, and I could have passed them along to someone that would use them. I'm thankful to have learned these things, that I can see these things more clearly today. I'm a little more thankful for the things like breathing that I've learned, the little things. Seem what were little things were actually bigger things. because without breathing, I didn't have a ground zero. I didn't have a solid base to start building upon. So it is the little things that we have to stop. Some of us have to take a lot of time and stop to realize these little things and to learn how to use them in our own life. Today, I'm focusing on being more authentic. Because I had built an identity to protect my ego, protect myself from the unjust things. And through that process, I was not being true to myself. I was masking. And I still do it. It's still, it's still a conscious thing that I have to pay attention to learn how to be different, how to be authentic. I thought I was a truthful person. Really, I was a caring person. And I was pretty truthful, but still was wearing a mask, and I guess the question gets to be, as I mentioned earlier, how truthful can you be with yourself and still put on a mask? I couldn't do it, and that's why I had to leave. Because I knew when I was in that situation that I wasn't being truthful with myself and I wasn't growing towards being more authentic. When it comes right down to it, authenticity is really all we have. We just build these forms on top of that to interact with others in our different forms of life. Learning how to make myself happy, how to be happy. Excuse me. Learning how to do these things and come from a place of happiness within myself has been really tough. As I mentioned before, because I always looked outside for that. And it was a habit. It's the way I learned to function. And for many years, I think I wanted to be more authentic, but felt it wasn't safe to do so. And I masked that with alcohol, drugs, and other things. And I think that's because I wanted to be true, but didn't know how to do it. Okay, I've been talking for almost 30 minutes, and I didn't know what I was going to start talking about, so I call that progress. And excuse me. I hope that I can help someone else. That's really the reason I'm doing this. I'm Actually, I'm freeing myself, but I'm doing this to help others. I have a lot of knowledge, a lot of other things, a lot of other ways that I could use to help people. And I look forward to diving more into those things. As I learn. But today, this is my start. I'm here for you in any way that I can be. And this is the way that I have at hand to be. I love you guys. And I hear it every day. Keep going. You can do this. We can do this. Let's make the world a better place. If you'd like to comment, please like, share, subscribe to my channel. You can watch my growth in the past several months on my channel. And I will be looking forward to talking to some of you guys. I just want to say I appreciate all of you guys who have been there for me. I love you so much. Have a great day.